Actually, it was my first big money made was as an affiliate. So I was promoting someone else's product, and the check was so big. There was just one promotion I did for somebody where I had a tiny email list of a few thousand people and I promoted his product. I ended up making $30,000, and that came from ClickBank as a check to my parents' house.
This is BizNinja Entrepreneur Radio with your host, Tyler Jorgenson.
Welcome out to BizNinja Entrepreneur Radio. I'm your host, Tyler Jorgenson, and today we have one of the legends in the internet marketing and business space, Anik Singal, who I've known for years digitally, just through Facebook and things like that. We have tons of mutual friends, Anik, and I know we've probably crossed paths at conventions and things, but it's really great to have you on the show. I know we're going to be talking about AI. We're going to be talking about lessons learned and so many great things, but thank you for coming out.
Hey man, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and to finally get to meet you officially.
Absolutely. I was talking with your team before we got started. We've been doing the show now for over 15 years. And so we've had well over 500 entrepreneurs on the show. And there's common things within each one, but there's also everyone's stories are so unique. And I'm excited to get into yours. Anik, you've got a unique past where you've been co-founder of some pretty cool companies. You're doing some really great things now with AI. But when was that moment in your life where you first realized that you were an entrepreneur?
Oh man, that's a good question. So I think there's the moment I realized it, and then there's the actual moment that showed it. And so I would say the moment that showed it was third grade, and I had that lemonade stand, the cliche story. But here's the thing. I hired second graders to run the lemonade stand so that I could be inside and watch cartoons after school. And that lemonade stand got shut down by the mother of the second graders because she figured out that the deal we had worked out was actually making them lose money because they had to provide their own supplies. So they had to buy the lemons, bring everything. And so I essentially licensed the location to them essentially for a huge profit share. Yeah. I did a bunch of little things like this in my upbringing. I didn't care about baseball cards at all, but I understood the idea of value in them. So I would do all kinds of things that were not kosher to obtain baseball cards, like borrowing money from my parents or the temple in our house to then go buy cards and then sell them and then return that money and, on with interest to that drawer. But I looked around as a young kid and, I'm Indian, right? By descent. I'm born and brought up in America, but everyone in my community that was doing well, driving nice cars, living in big homes, had tons of respect. They're doctors. I mean, it's no secret. Go to a hospital. 30% of all doctors are Indians. And so that's what my community does. So I just kind of air facto decided I'm going to become a doctor because I wanted to be financially free and have all the things and respect that these people had. So I worked hard through high school. And I was never the smartest kid in the class, but I was always I was always like this most street smart kid in the class, right? And I was always the hardest working. So I had a great rap sheet. I ended up getting into an amazing program that accepts only 60 kids worldwide, full scholarship, pre-med. I mean, I was on a one-way ticket to Ivy League med school, it was like the dream, right? My parents were super proud. You want to know when I actually really figured it out was about, I don't know, a month into college. I woke up one morning and I was like, holy crap, what have I done? Like, I can't do this. I can't go to another bio class. Like, this is not for me. And it didn't happen right away, man. At that time, I was also kind of working on the side as a financial planner, but I was part of this like MLM. And so I thought I liked financial planning. I thought I enjoy the financial side. So I actually ended up, huge story there, but I ended up dropping the full scholarship, switched universities. My parents were amazing. They supported me. And I went into a finance program, business school at University of Maryland, College Park. Within 2 weeks of being in that, I'm like, crap, what have I done? I hate this too. This sucks. So I'm pretty much thinking at this point, I'm going to be like the dropout in my parents' basement, which ironically did happen. I ended up in my parents' basement, but not as a dropout. And at that time, I went into self-reflective mode. So this is junior year of college. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, this isn't me. I'm an overachiever. Like, why do I feel like this? So I went into this major self-reflective mode and I realized, oh my God, I think the problem is that I want to do my own thing. Like, I don't want to work for someone. Like, I am an entrepreneur. Oh shit. It's not really in my family. My grandfather, who I barely knew, but he was a big industrialist entrepreneur in India in his time. Maybe it's in the genes, but, I started kind of teetering with that, and I realized it was never the financial planning side of the MLM business I loved. I actually loved the sales and marketing side. And so third year of college, I started a little online business, and it took me forever to get it to work. But when it did, it took off. And next thing I knew, I did graduate, but I always say I graduated just from my dad.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to drop out. I got the degree. And then funny enough, I set up my first office in my parents' basement. So I ended up in my parents' basement, but doing very well. So I ended up never taking a job out of college. I had some great job offers, just kept going with my business. But yeah, it was a bit of a long journey to discover it. And I'll tell people right now, like, if you look at your kids, the signs are there. And I look at my kids and I can already tell one of them, I'm like, okay, she's showing the signs. The other one isn't, right? The other one's going to have a different path.
Yeah, and I was pre-med as well until I got to chemistry, and then I was like, okay, these stoichiometry problems are longer than my English essays. I think I'm going to go back into business. But I always had a vision of doing business things within medicine. Like I wanted to run practices or do things, and so, but I think you're right. I think the signs are often there for people, and whether it's like the signs of like rejecting certain norms, like I don't fit into this box, or the things that they start to lean towards and pursue, right? The signs can be on both sides of that. So you said you started a business in college and it took you a long time to get that going. Was that your first like real business that, really that you saw that entrepreneurship was a valid and real path?
Yeah. I mean, one could say I was a sole proprietor for the MLM, right? So that was a business, and I did give it all my heart. I didn't really make anything net because I would reinvest everything back, but I did learn some of the early skills of marketing and sales. I was the shyest kid you'd ever meet, by the way. I couldn't stand in front of two people, my friend zone, and speak. I was really shy. And today I speak in front of audiences of 10,000 plus people, and I don't even prep. I just walk up. Like, I love it. I actually enjoy it. That I have to give credit back to being a part of that MLM, because my marketing director, the person who was my upline, he was amazing. He took me under his wing. I still am in touch with him till this day, and he taught me and he forced me out of my bubble. So I would say that was really a true entrepreneurial effort. But as a career, as a future, as like, okay, this is my thing. Yeah, I would say the first business that I started out of college, which was a selling information online business. Actually, it was my first big money made was as an affiliate. So I was promoting someone else's product, and the check was so big. My first big check, I made I made like smaller checks here and there. And by smaller, I'm talking 4 figures. So, but then there was just one promotion I did for somebody where I had a tiny email list of a few thousand people, and I promoted his product. I ended up making $30,000. And that came from ClickBank as a check to my parents' house. And my dad could have sworn up and down I was doing something illegal. Calls me into the house. He's upset. He's roaring. He's on the phone with ClickBank. ClickBank won't tell him anything. He's like, what the hell is this? I walk in. I'm like, what are you doing? What's going on? He's like, what is this? What are you doing? Like, you're supposed to focus on school. What illegal things have you gotten into? Because like I said, again, I had a track record as a kid of like always trying to figure my way into things.
Yeah.
And I explained to him, I show him the site, show him everything. I said, it's completely on the up and up. There's nothing illegal. And I think when he finally got it, he leaned back. My dad was very good at his career. He was very successful. He was a nuclear mechanical engineer, the head of 2 power plants on behalf of the government. Like he was up there. And he just leans back and he looks at me and he goes, it's not fair. And I'm like, what? And he's like, so you just made this sitting in your dorm room in a week, sending some emails? And I'm like, yeah, I've been trying to tell you that's what I've been working on the side. And he's like, I work an entire month and I've been working for decades and I make like, 12 grand. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, Dad. Like, this is why this is for me. Yeah. And so I think that conversation is sneered in my mind, that moment. I can remember where we were. Like, it's very visual, because for me, I think that was when it became like, holy crap. Like, even my dad's believing now, right? And like, this is real. Like, that's a big check. Yeah. 30 grand. That one check I made in 1 week paid off all of my debt for college. Now, back then, college was a lot less expensive than it is today. It was just over 20 years ago. But, and I had some scholarships and this and that, but I still, probably graduated with about 28,000 in debt. And so it's kind of crazy to think like 1 week of sending emails to this email list paid that entire amount off. And we know people that carry their college debt their whole life.
Yep.
So it's such a dichotomy, man. I mean, for the right person. I'm not trying to preach here that everyone should be an entrepreneur, by the way. I gave you the good. For every one thing I tell you that's good, there's like 15 that are like horrid and bad and like troubling and, tough.
So step one, step one was the MLM, right? And then you start doing your own thing, but you're still promoting somebody else's offer. What was the first thing that you did that was like, okay, it's my business, I own this, I'm the product of the service or things like that? How did you take that first leap into into that side of things?
So a book I love that I would recommend to everybody is Art of the Start by Guy Kawasaki. Now, I can't give him credit for what I did because I hadn't read the book at that time. I read the book later, but I'll give him credit to the fact that he really pinned on an amazing strategy for entrepreneurs who are just getting started. Because I ended up doing what he says in the book. I just did it by accident or by design. I have no idea. So there was a product that I was promoting very successfully. I was one of the top affiliates for this software. I was making really good money. I was probably making, $300 to $600 a day, promoting it as an affiliate, sitting in my dorm room in my undies. Like it was good. Life was good, right?
Yeah.
Now, what happens is I'm fully aware of this, by the way. I didn't like the idea that like, okay, I know this is going to be like the product of the next few months and then it's going to die down and like I have to pick something else and then shell that. And I was like, well, it doesn't feel like a business to me. It feels like a nice side income, but like maybe I should still go take I was getting Wall Street job offers, so maybe I should take that. But I get a message one day from somebody that says, hey, so this software was like a black hat SEO software. So you had to install it on your server and it would do a bunch of stuff to spam Google and like totally would not work today. But back then it was working like a charm.
Yep.
And I'm not technical. That's the funny thing. I can barely turn a computer on, but I had learned how to install that software on a server. Like I had my own little system for building it and doing it. And I was making a little bit of money through AdSense. I was using it myself every day and building my email list. And I get this message from one of the people that had bought through my link. And he said, hey, I don't have time. I run this like water purifying company. Like, how much would you charge to just do this for me? And I remember being like, I don't want to do it for you. Like, I'm not even technical. I don't know what kind of server you're going to have. Blah, blah, blah. So I was trying to give him a price that would just deter him. And it took me about 2 hours to do it, by the way, from start to finish. It was 2 hours. And I was using the most like rudimentary technology. I was using something called Microsoft Front Page. Okay. Rest in peace. I still think is one of the best softwares ever created. It made me a lot of money.
I built my first probably 20 websites using Microsoft Front Page.
Dude,
It was
bring
amazing.
it back.
Yes.
Bring it back. That thing was a cool tool. I loved it. So anyways, so I threw out an offer. I said $500. I mean, $250 as a college kid per hour. This is 20 plus years ago. Can you imagine? And the guy replied in like 3 minutes to my email. He was like, done. Where do I PayPal? I was like, whoa, what? And so I did it for him. His traffic started within a few days. He saw it. He didn't even ask me. He PayPal'd me another $500 and said, I do it to this other site. So I'm like, okay. Then he messages me the next day and he's like, hey, I have a buddy of mine who wants to do it. Would you do it for him? I said, sure. So next thing I know, I reach out to the person who is the product owner, whose product I'm promoting. And I said, do you have a service like this? He's like, no. I was like, would you mind like promoting it? I'll give you a couple $100 for every 500. He's like, sure. Brings me like another 10, 12 customers like the next day. And now I'm like overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my God, this is too much work. I don't want to do all this. So I got to hire my friend down the hall. And I'm like, you do this. And next thing I get this idea from someone. They're like, hey kid, why don't you just, back then screencast was new. Like it had just come out, like the ability to record your screen. Right. And he's like, why don't you just record yourself doing it? Burn it on a bunch of DVDs, create a little manual, and then just like instead of doing it for people, just sell it for $500 as like a done with you course thing. I'm like, dude, no one's gonna pay for that. He's like, just try it. So I'm like, fine. So I put the offer out to my little email list and to my like social media following, my forum following at that time.
Yep.
I sold 10 of them, and I didn't even have it. I didn't have it. I just like literally was like ones, and like, luckily I had been like, oh, it's gonna take me a week or so to get these out the door. I made $5,000 and I'm like, shit. So I made the course, got it put in a box, dude. And I went back to that guy and said, would you promote this as an affiliate? The founder of the actual software. He's like, yeah, we were selling 3 to 5 a day. And and I had a couple of computers in the hallway. I paid a couple of my friends to come in and burn DVDs and print stuff. I didn't even understand that there was such a thing as fulfillment houses back then. So I thought you have to make it yourself. And every day the United States Postal Service dude would just show up at our door. We'd give him the boxes, and I swear all of my friends thought I was like, shipping guns out or something. But it was like I think for me that was when I was like, holy crap, being on the other side, being a product owner, and then having affiliates push you, and just having a great offer that's timely and in demand and serves and solves a problem.
Yep.
You don't have to be a good marketer. The thing just sells itself.
Yeah. And so obviously the next step is to co-found WebinarCon and Sendlane. Like that's what everyone does. You start doing info products and CDs, and you instantly go into large tech companies and conferences.
Only about 15, 16, 17 years in the middle there that's missing. But next step for me was I became absolutely obsessed with info publishing and with the publishing model. Now, listen, I've been in this model since before this was a industry. Now we call it the creator industry, right? And it's like I've been doing that for 20 years before it became an industry. So it is an amazing space, super high margins. It's not easy. You got to build up the following. You got to do things the right way. You got to learn a bunch of new skills. It's a high margin business. It's not really an exitable business though. So I will say that. So if you kind of mentioned Sendlane and you mentioned WebinarCon, and if you look at what I'm doing today with Eugentic AI, one of the things I've learned is like you can make a lot of really good money and live a superb lifestyle as an info publisher, as a consultant, as an agency. Well, I don't like the agency business model. I don't think you can live a good lifestyle as an agency, but if you really want to build something that's going to give you that multi-7, multi-8, 9-figure exit, it's not going to be an info business. So you use that audience you've built, that trust that you built through the info world, and then you translate that somehow into and move them into a tech business. So that's what we did with Sendlane. The first 10,000 customers of Sendlane were driven mostly by me because of that audience I had. And so we were able to kind of spark that business up as a SaaS. And then I exited it. Sendlane still exists and is doing great. Yep. I exited in 2021. WebinarCon, I just got so good at webinars at some point. We're like, let's do an event. And it started off supposed to be a 20-person event, became this big thing. And now it's an event and it has equitable value. At some point, there's going to be an exitable value to that event. And then Eugentic AI was just a natural progression of me being in the marketing space for 20 years. You're an idiot if you're ignoring AI right now. It's too big. So I, instead of ignoring it, I said, hey, let's step in front of it and let's see if we can lead it.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I was an early subscriber and user of Sendlane back in the early days. And so,
oh, cool.
Because I had a kind of a similar thing where, stumbled into being an offer owner, realizing, oh man, I should, do more and more of this. And all of a sudden that means, well, what do you mean own the list, right? It's so funny how those of us that kind of stumble into it, we didn't have a book like what you mentioned with Art of the Start, or even like .com secrets or those kind of things.
Yeah.
You figure it out. And then later on you realize, oh, there were actually blueprints I could have followed, but I didn't know they were there.
Yeah.
What was one like major in your journey, in your experience, what was one major mistake or setback that you faced, and how'd you overcome that?
Yeah. So on this elliptical machine, my business is booming. I have the golden touch complex, and I think a lot of young entrepreneurs, I meet a lot of young entrepreneurs who got early success that have this. So everything I was touching was turning to gold, and I wanted bigger and more. I was never the guy that went out and splurged money on stupid things. I did spend my money, but it was always back in my business because I wanted bigger. I wanted more growth. I wanted to do bigger things. And so I understood at an earlier age that like, okay, this info stuff is great and I make good money, but like, I want to go for like the 9-figure, business. How do I do that? And so at that time, technology was taken off online, building different things. Everyone was outsourcing to India. I'm Indian. I know the native tongue. I know the language. So I just decided, I had this brilliant idea on this elliptical machine, which was to commoditize education. So the name Learn, which is the company I was building, comes because I wanted to build, and I kid you not, the idea I had, there was nothing like it that existed. It was genuinely my own idea, but it is today manifested by somebody else in a company called Udemy. So Udemy. So if anyone wants to see what was Learn's original vision in my head, it's literally what Udemy is today. Like, it couldn't be more like the same. It's crazy. It's like three guys, or I think two guys in Turkey, were building this thing while I was trying to build it. Here's the biggest mistake I made, though. I'm not technical. I don't know a damn thing when it comes to technology. Like I said, I can barely turn my computer on. And so what did I do? I just Golden Touch Complex. I flew to India, found I used to have a dev company there. They're doing little work for me. I acquire them, and I just start throwing humans at problems, right? So we have to build this thing. I didn't understand how to build tech. I didn't understand how you spec things, how you should plan, and I didn't understand how to hire. So I was just, hiring a bunch of juniors, and I was literally creating Lord of the Flies in my business. And it just all freaking imploded. And I spent millions of dollars. And then right at the same time, it's 2010. So it's a couple years after 2008, when the market had kind of taken a huge correction, that seeped over into our industry. By 2010, our industry is falling apart. My revenue is going down the tubes. I'm having major health issues because I'm working myself to the ground. So I have a condition called Crohn's disease. I'm having huge issues with that. And now I'm also burning millions of dollars trying to build this technology company, and we're building it like literally monkeys with a wrench. Like, we don't have any plan. Should have gone out and gotten tech co-founder. I just didn't really go learn about this, right? Like, I'm trying to build a completely different type of business, and I was in literally a foreign land. I used to live in India for a month and then come back here for a month and then go back to India for a month. And I mean, we fell 1.7 million in debt at one point. We were near bankruptcy, and it was hell, and it almost actually killed me. I ended up in the hospital many times. And I since repeated the same mistake a couple more times after that. I just kept trying to build. Like, if you ever meet my wife and say the word platform, she'll have nervous twitches, because
Right.
I wanted to build a damn platform. Like, I was like, I will build a platform. I have learned how to build tech now. So I will say, like, now I totally get it, and we're building some really cool tech. And I'm not technical, but now I'm dangerous when it comes to it because I understand it. But man, that lesson cost me multi-millions of dollars. That was some of the darkest times of my life, was between 2010 and 2013. Was really tough times. And then 2014, I got married, and I always joke with my wife that she was my good luck charm, because 2014 things just took back off again. But that was 3.5 or so years of being, in my mid 20s, 1.7 million in debt. My dad at one point literally mortgaged his home for me.
Wow.
Until this day, when I talk about it, I get chills. I hate it. It was my best friend at that time, gave me every penny to his name, which was a lot. It was about 100 grand. And said, pay me back when you can. It was tough times. Luckily, never declared bankruptcy, paid back absolutely everybody, every penny, and came back climbing out of it. But the big mistake there was, just because you're really good at playing football doesn't mean you can step into the basketball ring.
Yeah,
you got to go learn that sport.
Yeah, the golden touch complex is real. And I remember hearing early on somebody say they don't work with entrepreneurs that haven't been through at least 2 cycles, meaning like they haven't realized that the golden touch doesn't work at least twice. Because the first one, you're like, that was just, they can blame it on a partner. They can blame it on the economy.
Mm-hmm.
They can blame it on something. But when you have it twice, you realize, no, there's certain things I'm good at, certain things I can control. There's certain places where my skills, there's limitations to my golden touch. And I think that's so powerful. I think it's something that only happens when you've had a couple of failures, and you turned that around, and that's amazing. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't have done that. What would you say is like you said that you had to learn that lesson a couple of times, right? So when you summarize that for future entrepreneurs or other people that you're talking to, and you want to say, hey, here's how to shorten the learning curve, right? Is it just the analogy of the football, basketball, or what's the lesson you give them?
So, in its most simplest, it is kind of the analogy of football and basketball. Yeah. So look, just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you're good at another thing. You got to go learn it, and you got to treat it just with the same level of newbiness that you did the first thing that you got good at. But there's shortcuts. So you can't, and I tried this. So the reason I said I made the same mistake multiple times, the first time I made the mistake because I led that whole team, and I was like, oh, I see what I did. I was working with a bunch of juniors in India who didn't really care about what they were creating, so they were the problem. So the second time I made the mistake, I hired a bunch of people in America Like I hired a firm in America. Well, it turns out that didn't go any better either. So then I'm like, oh, you know what? I think I'm not giving them like a proper plan. So like then the third time I did it like with an in-house team, I spent even more money. And I hired a big, tech whiz from Disney, like this big VP guy. And I'm like, okay, I got all the skills, and it still wasn't enough. Here's the thing. You either got to partner with a tech co-founder so that they have a lot of skin in the game, not just a job, but a skin in the game type of person, or you step back and you learn it. So my last technology company that we started building, Complyly, we were building it in really tough times. And it was a really just kind of an out there thought. I don't know if it's going to work well or not. I tried looking for the right tech co-founder. Really couldn't find anyone that I could jive with. Didn't have the money to pay for someone really high power. So I remember having this conversation with myself one night. And I said, we're going to decide tonight whether we're going to do this or not. And if we are going to do this, then Anik, you need to learn tech.
Yeah.
Like you need to literally learn tech. You're going to need to take some rudimentary coding courses. You're going to need to learn this AI stuff, how it works, what it is. How exactly does ChatGPT work behind the prompt? What the hell's going on back there? What's this computing power? What's a RAG system? All of these things. And I decided that, you know what? This has been such a pain in my ass for so long. Like I need to go solve this. I need to add this to my list. And I did. And guess what? That was my first software company that's doing really well. And by the way, I'm no longer involved in it in the sense of I hired a CEO. I don't check into the tech. I literally get an update once a month on that company at this point. But it was set up the right way. And the people in the team, the tech team I built, because I understood what the hell I was doing. So I built the right people and they're running it amazingly now. So you've got, I think, even if you have that tech co-founder, or maybe you're a technical person and you don't understand a damn thing about marketing and sales, then fine, you need to have that kind of a co-founder. But even then, you need to go to a couple of sales classes and marketing classes. You need to understand the lingo. You need to be able to talk the talk.
Yeah, there's an element of humility that has to be there. Even when, I think entrepreneurs, you kind of have to be delusional. You have to be you have to believe in the golden touch, but you also have to balance it with humility that you don't know everything and you don't inherently you weren't born with every skill imaginable. AI is still new. We didn't have all of that just a few months ago. We're getting close to the end, and so I don't want to miss talking about what you're doing with Eugentic and what's going on there. So catch us up on what's happening now. What's really exciting you today?
Yeah, real simple. So we see a huge future for the 450 million small businesses out there in the world utilizing agentic AI to really help grow and scale their efficiencies in their business, make their entrepreneurs' life easier. 75% of small businesses still haven't even touched AI. 99% of Fortune 500 companies are now using AI. So I think the clear indication there is that small businesses are just lost, confused. They don't know how to use it. And they don't have the budgets that Fortune 500s have to hire a whole team to go figure it out. We are that budget. We're figuring it out for them. So Eugentic AI is a company that I've built now. We've raised capital for. We're raising more capital for. Go to eugenticai.com to see what we're doing. We are acquiring some of the best agentic AI businesses that we can target small businesses with to solve their problems. We're also building in-house technologies now where we see agentic AI opportunities that are not being addressed for acquisition. We build something. So right now, what we're trying to do is take all of this stuff you're seeing, all this major data things, all the billionaires battle. Fine, let them battle it out. But how do we take that down to a level that can actually impact a small business, help them grow, help them be more efficient, help give freedom to the entrepreneur, how to use the AI in their business? We're simplifying all of it at Eugentic AI. So if someone wants to invest, go to eugenticai.com. If someone has a company that they think would be a great part of our portfolio, we'd love to talk to you about acquiring. Or go to eugenticai.com and check out. We have an event coming up. It's free to join us. It's going to be at the Ritz-Carlton in Tyson's. Come learn about agentic AI and marketing and sales. And also, we're going to have some amazing companies that you can use and that can help you with your business. So come check us out at eugenticai.com. All of the info will be there.
Not to be like overly simplistic, but you just mentioned that 75% of small businesses haven't even touched AI yet. What is the simplest explanation of what agentic AI is?
Sure. Complete autonomous decision-making agents. So ChatGPT right now, Claude or Gemini or Grok or God knows how many of the models, you go to it and you prompt it, you ask it something and it gives you an answer. Autonomous workflows are called agents. And what they do is they just do all these things on their own. So they're able to create an output, whether it be manage your social media, send your emails, create your website, maintain your website, keep you updated on certain things, do market research for you. You just tell it what you want and you can set up a cycle, and it knows you, it knows your business, it knows the best prompts already to do the thing, goes out and does all of it. And now there's this new world of MCP where the agents can talk to each other. So you can have a whole team that's collaborating with each other, creating, and this sounds sci-fi, and especially for small businesses that aren't technical, it sounds like something that's years out, but I'm telling you, it isn't. It's here. It's not sci-fi. It's literally happening right now. And if you don't adapt to it, you're going to get left behind, because the businesses that have those efficiencies are going to outcompete you. So you absolutely have to do this. And we just want to we want to bridge that gap, that knowledge gap between the two.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've been on the call here. One of my agents has been answering the phone, right? Like they've been handling calls, right?
There
So
you
that's
go.
awesome. What, now, Anik, I'm a big believer that entrepreneurship, business, all this stress that sometimes we carry that we wouldn't do any other way. It's not just about, the stuff, but it's also about the life that we get to create. And you mentioned that a few times, right? That certain businesses are more inclined to creating a good life. What's one item on your personal bucket list that you're going to accomplish in the next 12 months?
On my personal bucket list next 12 months would be me being able to take 1 to 2 days a week off to spend with my girls.
Awesome.
And I think that goal sounds outlandishly crazy to someone who's at this stage of growth and rapid growth in the business, but it also encourages me to build the right team and to build a team the right way.
Yeah.
And so I think this is the year where I really figure out this whole entrepreneurial freedom thing. It's been 25, 24 years. I haven't really been able to ever say I'm free. And that's the truth. I got close to it, but not quite there. I think this year we get to do it.
I love that. I think that's a worthy goal, an important one. As we sign off, where should people go to learn more about you?
Yeah. So, I mean, look me up on any social media. I'm very active on Facebook, just Anik Singal. And I put out a lot of content, and I respond to people there. But UgenticAI.com for what we're doing in business, expertscale.com if you want to learn more marketing stuff from me. We have that business as well. And then on TikTok, on, X, on LinkedIn, and all of these, just look up my name, Anik Singal, and I'm pretty active across all the platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. Really great to connect. Thank you for sharing your experiences and your wisdom with everybody. And to all my biz ninjas, wherever you're tuning in, listening, watching, or wherever you may be, it's your turn to go out and do something.